Hello, hello, hello. Nikki Sanders here with Nikki Sanders Leadership Consulting, and welcome to another edition of More Than Social Work with Nikki Sanders. Thank you so much for joining me here. And please subscribe, please share, because I definitely want to continue to support new social workers, social work students, and seasoned social workers on your social work journey. So today, I want to talk about something that I'm going to talk about over and over and over again, but it has not left our field or profession or industry. So I'm going to talk about it again, and we're going to make some changes. So, as you know, I'm Nikki Sanders with Nikki Sanders Leadership Consulting. I am a social work career empowerment coach. I am committed to dismantling the narrow, outdated view of social work. And in 2024, unfortunately, that still includes the phrase social workers are in it for the outcome and not the income, or I didn't go into social work to make money. You actually should be going into social work to make money. That is your expectation. If you accept a job as a social worker, if you go into the career of social work, you absolutely should expect to make money. You're not a volunteer. You're not a nun. You're not a martyr. You are either an employee or an entrepreneur. And that means that you should be getting paid, and you should expect to be paid well for your education, your experience, and your expertise. So, social media, right? A blessing and a curse. Um, Over the past 2 days, I have still been a part of a few social media groups where I'm hearing again, don't go into social work for the money, or you can't make any money in social work. And where social workers are flat out discouraging people who are interested in the profession from going into social work. So if you are so burned out, so angry, feel so exploited by a profession and industry or an occupation, you definitely should leave. And actually, you should have left a long time ago, right? So if you are discouraging people from joining the social work profession as a social worker, my suggestion is that you also leave the social work profession. I am biased. I love social work. I am never going to tell anyone not to join social work or become a social worker. I am, on the other hand, going to give them some caution, words of caution. I'm going to give them some support. I'm going to give them some resources. I'm going to tell them about my mistakes and the mistakes of people that I know, whether those are people that I've worked with, whether those are social workers I've engaged with online, whether those are people that I've interviewed, whether it is my students or my former professors, right? So what I'm really making this video for is not just to encourage people to explore all of the vastness that is available in social work, but this is really for social workers. So before you leave the social work profession, you have that right. And before you discourage someone else from joining the social work profession, here's what my suggestion is to you. Figure out where that really comes from. What's really happening for you? And are there things that you are projecting onto someone else? Now, if every social worker that you're connected to is angry, is struggling financially, is burned out and full of compassion fatigue, it's time to make some changes, because there are so many social workers who have gone from feeling overworked, underpaid, and unappreciated to being energized about the work that they do, to being well paid and well compensated, and to feel appreciated for the contributions that they bring to the places where they are, right? So there are social workers who are energized, who are well paid, and who are appreciated. And those are the people that I'm going to say we need to seek out, we need to promote and share with the world, right? So we don't have this negative view of social work, but the world needs social workers. So why would I discourage people from going into a profession that I know there is a need? We are losing way too many social workers because of this outdated view of social work and this almost refusal to change, adapt, and adjust, or at least do it quickly enough that we aren't losing people to the profession. Students, seasoned professionals, new professionals, and then people who are thinking about it, who are being discouraged from going into the profession, not just by social workers, but also by family members and friends, because they have the same negative views and ideas of what social work is. I have loved everything about being able to use my social work degree in various ways. And again, social work skills are highly transferable, high income skills. So here's what I want you to do. If you have every right to complain, and the person that you're talking to has every right to complain, we are not going to discount their feelings, their experiences. We're going to validate that they have every right to feel what they feel, that those we've seen it, right? We've all seen it. Some of us have experienced, myself included, burnout and compassion fatigue. So I am not going to tell anyone not to leave the profession, but I am not going to tell someone don't even join it, because we don't know what that person's capacity is. We don't know what their reasoning for joining the profession or wanting to join a profession is. We don't know what their connections and skill sets are. And so we also can put the resources and support in place. So here's what I'm going to ask us to do. If you're going to complain and you're going to talk about all of your mistakes, and you're going to talk about all of the challenges and all of the things that you hate, my request is that you also share some solutions, share some opportunities, that along with the complaints comes some critical thinking. Along with the challenges comes some resources. So think of this like a job interview, right? If you're on a job interview and they ask you a question and you have kind of a negative answer, let's go with, what are one of your weaknesses, right? That's an interview question that people love to ask, right? So if you tell them your weakness, you never just leave it there as what your weakness is. You tell them how you're working on it, how you overcome it, how you're moving past it, how you're committed to changing, learning, growing, adapting, right? You never just leave it there in that blanket space of negativity. And that's the same thing with the social work profession, right? So with our complaints, let's throw in some solutions. With our complaints, let's throw in some advocacy, because the truth is change begins within. It begins within the social worker, the work that we're going to do for ourselves to get ourselves out of whatever kind of situation we're in. I needed to take a break. And I will not tell anyone that you might not just need to hit a pause and take a break. And that's what I needed to do. And so I was still working, I was still contributing, but not at the same level in terms of leadership and the same intensity in the kind of work. You get to change populations, you get to change career fields, you get to change organizations, right? So all of those things, hear people's concerns, and instead of feeding into their fears, throw in a little bit of exploration and research and support, because you also, oftentimes we leave people just feeling like almost attacked or beaten down and hopeless, right? So we told you, no, don't do it. But then we didn't help you with something else, right? So we always want to be able to be a resource and help. So if you want to add your complaints and your challenges and your mistakes, add in some advocacy and some problem solving, some solutions and some resolutions. Don't just leave it at that negativity and leave it there. Social workers, the change begins within us as individuals and within us in the profession. We have to make the change. Nothing's going to change if we keep accepting the status quo and deciding that this is just how social work is and we're just going to leave it like it is. No, we get to make change from the inside out, because change begins within. So whether that means that you as an individual learn to advocate for yourself, reject, specific salaries, set boundaries at work, whether you as an individual become a teacher or an internship supervisor or a mentor to a coworker, or you go into a leadership position, you as an individual, that change begins within. And so instead of passing along negativity, make a decision that you are going to be a problem solver, not just a problem talker, right? And then again, change begins within the profession. So there are many social workers who are working to get a union formed. There are many social workers who are working to advance the need for paid internships. There are many social workers who are working on getting more social workers into macro social work and meso social work. There are social workers who are going into, corporate social work and environmental social work, and they're bringing other social workers along with them. If you're a social work educator, leave all of the old negative stuff behind and teach from a place of opportunity and the changes that we're seeing in the social work profession and in the opportunities that are available for social workers. Okay? All right. Can we agree to do that? I hope so. All right. So this is Nikki Sanders with Nikki Sanders Leadership Consulting. Thank you so much for joining me here on More Than Social Work with Nikki Sanders. I haven't figured out the exact schedule for when the videos will be posted. Right now, I really want to make the videos when I'm really feeling passionate about it. But you can join me on social media. You can subscribe here to More Than Social Work with Nikki Sanders, and you can visit the Nikki Sanders website for resources, blog articles, interviews, all of those things. And I would love to hear from you. What are some topics that you want to hear about, whether you agree or disagree, right? I am not beyond critique, so I welcome that too. And I welcome, dialogue, true dialogue, not just combativeness, true dialogue. So again, I love that we get to have these discussions. Thanks so much for joining me here, and stay tuned for the next video. So go out there and let's make some change, because change begins within. We are dismantling, tearing apart, eliminating that outdated, narrow view of social work. And social workers get to be in it for the income and the outcome. Social workers don't have to be overworked, underpaid, and unappreciated. Social work skills are high income skills. Social work skills are highly transferable. Social workers do not take a vow of poverty. You are going to hear me say those things over and over and over again. And I hope the next time you're in a conversation that could have gone a little negative, that you hear me in your head saying those things that I just said. All right. I'll see you soon. Bye. Uh-oh. Let me turn it off. All right. Bye.